I hope President Obama came out swinging on climate change in his inaugural address yesterday.
We will respond to the threat of climate change, knowing that the failure to do so would betray our children and future generations. Some may still deny the overwhelming judgment of science, but none can avoid the devastating impact of raging fires and crippling drought and more powerful storms.
Well, at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, leaders there called for a, wait for it, $14 trillion greening of the economy to fight global warming. It's chump change. Joining us now to break it all down, Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano. $14 trillion?
Well, look, you know, Liz Clayman is covering these people so nicely for us. This is the biggest gaggle of lefties on the planet who would love nothing more than to get the Western governments to agree to cough up $14 trillion in the next 10 years, the bulk of that from the United States, forgetting, of course, that we're already in debt by $16.5 trillion,
right.
almost up to $16.5. I don't know how they could do this without a congressional authorization here. Yeah. I suppose the UN could raise its dues and give the increase in dues, the increase that members paid, over to this group that thinks it can tame the seas and the hurricanes by spending money. Here's my view, if you will. This is an example of the big government mentality run amok. They recognize no limit on government, not even natural limits on government. They think that by spending $14 trillion, you can tame Mother Nature. They actually believe that Hurricane Sandy was man-made, and that if they had had their way 20 or 15 or 10 years ago,
it wouldn't have happened.
It wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
There's no science to support that. I am not a scientist. I'm a lawyer and a legal scholar and a television guy like the rest of us here, but that just defies common sense.
Also, you say, look, the money that was funneled and ultimately lost to Solyndra and a multitude of other companies, so-called green companies that got all of these government loans, all taxpayer money that went down the drain.
Right.
The fact that that ever got through, you believe, is patently unconstitutional.
Well, yes. I mean, Solyndra got its money, and the other companies as well. We're talking about green companies who received gifts from the federal government, typically in the form of a loan guarantee, and then they went out of business, and the feds had to pay off the company's loans.
Right.
Feds meaning taxpayers.
Right.
Cash from the taxpayers or money borrowed from the Chinese in the name of the taxpayers. The reason that happened is because Congresses, Republicans and Democrats, gave so much discretion to the president, so much ability to give these loan guarantees to companies of the president's choosing, that this is now coming home to roost.
Right.
Republicans gave this power to George H.W. Bush and to George W. Bush. Democrats gave this power to Jimmy Carter and to Bill Clinton. Barack Obama has exercised this power in ways that have frustrated everybody. The Democrats didn't want to see these companies fail. Right. The Republicans didn't want to see federal taxpayer dollars going into these companies. Is it lawful? It's absolutely lawful. Is it constitutional? It's not authorized anywhere under the Constitution.
Judge, we got to talk quickly about the Keystone Pipeline. We hear the Nebraska governor comes out and says, you know what? You can traverse my state.
Well,
this
is very frustrating to the State Department and to the strong environmentalists that support the president. Yeah. Because this is basically saying to the president, we have the largest single piece of the pipeline will go through our state, and we not only have no objection to it, we want it. The Canadian government is ready. We're ready. The landowners here are ready to collect rents to have this stuff built in their backyards. Let's go, Mr. President. Now he's got to find another excuse to block it, and this is greater pressure on him to defy the orthodoxy of the environmentalists and let people in Texas and Canada exchange a pipeline.
And I don't know, create jobs.
Wow.
Lots of jobs, Tracy.
Judge Andrew Napolitano, you know it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Guys. Thanks for having me.
You're like this.